Natalia Cappuccini, better known by her stage name Natalia Kills, is an English singer, actress, record producer, fashion designer, and director. She was born, and raised for part of her early life, in Bradford. Kills studied at the Bradford Girls Grammar School before briefly attending the London Academy of Music and Dramatic Art. She withdrew from LAMDA to focus on her musical career. She soon began performing in the hip-hop music scene and got signed by Adventures in Music in 2003. However, this agreement was stopped 2 years later following disappointing sales of a debut single as well as financial difficulties encountered by the record label. By the end of 2008, record executive and producer will.i.am signed her to his label will.i.am Music Group, an imprint of Interscope Records. Initially working as a songwriter at Cherrytree Records, her vocal abilities captured the attention of recording artist Akon, who also signed her to Kon Live Distribution, his own label under Interscope. She released her debut album, Perfectionist, in 2011, and her second album, Trouble, in September 2013. Although only 5'1", Kills is also a model. She is frequently photographed for fashion magazines, and has received global media attention related to her clothing and style. In 2014, she married boyfriend Willie Moon, who is also a singer on the same label. Life and career: 1986 Euro 95, early life. Kills was born in Bradford, West Yorkshire, to a British father of Afro-Jamaican heritage and a Uruguayan mother, and attended Bradford Girls Grammar School. Her family, then affluent, left Bradford when Kills was a child, moving from country to country, and her early years were spent between England, Jamaica and Spain. Kills' father was arrested and imprisoned in 1999 on undisclosed charges, and her family, subsequently impoverished, moved to London. Acting professionally since the age of 9, Kills continued her education at the London Academy of Music and Dramatic Art, where she studied classical drama. With a difficult home life, Kills ran away when she was 14 and shifted her focus away from acting. "The minute I moved out when I was 14 and I ran away from home, I decided I could be whoever I wanted to be, and that I could be myself and I didn't want to be an actress anymore," Kills said in a 2013 interview with Stuff magazine. Kills has described her teenage years as degenerate, stating that she tried to set her ex-boyfriend's house on fire while both were in it. Kills had frequent legal trouble and periodically experienced suicidal depression. She was also briefly involved with a religious cult. 1995 Euro 2010, career beginnings. Kills made her acting debut at age 9 in 1995 in New Voices. She had a regular role as Sima on the TV sitcom All About Me and also played Amy Franks in the BBC's long-running radio drama The Archers. She began writing songs at 14, some of which were featured in films and television shows, including Bring It On 4, Sleepover, Just My Luck, and Entourage. After finishing with The Archers in 2003, Kills began pursuing a music career and had a significant breakthrough as Candy Rapper in 2003, when she won a BBC Radio 1 MC battle in Leeds. She signed to the UK record company Adventures in Music and released her first single Don't Play Nice under the name Verbalicious in February 2005. Kills told W that her childhood nickname from her mother was Verbal, because she talked and sang a lot. She adopted the name and variations of it as her stage name at some points during her career. In 2007, while writing music for films, Kills posted Woo Mornikin, a demo she produced and wrote, to MySpace. The song received 2 million plays on the website, and Kills reached the top of the unsigned artists chart. With offers coming in for concerts and festivals, Kills traveled to Los Angeles, where she met with record labels and producers including Akon and Justin Timberlake. A DJ introduced her to will.i.am after hearing her demo and learning that she did not have a record deal. In January 2009, will.i.am signed her to his record label, will.i.am Music Group. "We had a really good creative chemistry," she said in a 2011 Billboard interview. During this time she also co-wrote and appeared on They Talk Shit About Me by French recording artist M. Pokora and met underground director Guillaume Daubit, who would go on to direct many of her videos, in Paris. Kills moved to Los Angeles in 2008. Arriving without money or a place to live, Kills lived out of these motels, bumming around, trying to work with or make songs with anyone who would have me for a couple of hours in the studio. I was a degenerate. I was terrible. I did awful things. I was just trying to survive and I was too young to know better. 2010 12, Perfectionist, Kills adopted the stage name Natalia Kills reportedly after her record company advised her that her legal name, Natalia Cappuccini, was indescribable. She explained in an interview that she chose Kills from the interjection "you killed it," representing her tendency to be a perfectionist. Kills released her debut album Perfectionist in Germany in April 2011 following the release of her first single, Mirrors, which hit the German top 10. The album was described as a concept album by Kills, who claimed everybody is a perfectionist. It featured production by Jeff Basker and Fernando Garibay, who had worked with Lady Gaga. The album was accompanied by 4 singles, Mirrors, Wonderland, Free, and Kill My Boyfriend. The first 3 singles were minor hits in several European countries but failed to chart in the US or UK. Kills opened for Kelly's European All Hearts Tour, and supported Robyn on her Body Talk tour in November 2010 and early 2011. She also supported Kesha on the UK leg of her Get Sleazy tour. Kills additionally opened 8 shows for Katy Perry during her California Dreams tour in Europe and São Paulo, Brazil. She also opened for the Black Eyed Peas over the summer of 2011 in Europe. 2 tracks from Perfectionist, a Euro Free Euro feat. will.i.am, and a Euro Mirrors, a Euro went top 10 in Europe and achieved sales of over 750,000. Kills was featured on LMFAO's 2011 single, Champagne Showers, as well as on Junior Caldera's single Lights Out with Far East Movement. It was released on March 13, 2012. Kills also features in Tatana's single, You Can't Get In My Head. Zombie, was used in an episode of Face Off. Kills had a number of unreleased songs that she never released. The most known out of all is the demo for Mirrors, which was featured in an unreleased EP called Perfectionist The Demos. 2012 a Euro 14, Trouble and Other Endeavors. On September 14, 2012, Kills unveiled the video for Controversy to start promotion of her second studio album, Trouble, which was released on September 3, 2013, through will.i.am Interscope Records. Recorded in Los Angeles and New York, Trouble was written and recorded in collaboration with Jeff Basker and Emile Haney, who has worked with Lana Del Rey, Kid Cudi, and Eminem, among others. Centered around her troubled childhood, the album received positive critical attention, with Idolator writing Kills has grown as a songwriter, now mining her experiences with a richness and authenticity. The video for the track Problem, the album's first single, was released in June 2013. In it, Kills reenacts her first few years in Hollywood. Kills co-directed the clip, which features model Adonis Basso. Saturday Night was the album's second single. Exploring themes of domestic abuse and drug addiction, as well as Kills' relationship with her parents, the video for the track was directed by Guillaume Darbit. Kills attended an after-party for the 2013 MTV Video Music Awards, held on August 25, 2013 in Brooklyn, New York City, where she performed various songs from Trouble. She said she was working to making something on stage that is remotely accurate to the cover art of the album and the sound of the songs. 2 days later, the song Out of Time was released as the album's second promotional recording free of charge in a Polydor Records newsletter, coinciding with the US release of Trouble. On the same day, a lyric video for Out of Time was released on YouTube. Trouble was officially released on September 3, 2013 as a digital download in the United States and Canada. A compact disc release was sent to stores in the US and Canada on 10 and 17 September 2013. For the US release of Trouble, Boys Don't Cry was premiered on the website of the magazine Glamour. On October 18, 2013, a remix of the song was available on Cosmopolitan. To promote the album and its singles, Kills was interviewed by a number of magazines and websites, including Billboard, Teen Vogue, Lady Gune, Refinery 29, Playboy. On October 9, 2013, Kills performed at a Chicago nightclub, and on December 31, 2013 she performed at the Hollywood Roosevelt Hotel. She also performed an acoustic set for Yahoo! Music. During a promotional trip in New Zealand, Kills attended the Vodafone New Zealand Music Awards. The track Boys Don't Cry from Kills' album Trouble was included on the soundtrack to the film Vampire Academy, released on February 4, 2014. After an uncredited appearance during the introduction of the track Black Dahlia from American rapper Angel Hayes' debut album Dirty Gold, released in late 2013, Kills decided to collaborate a second time with Hayes for a remix of her song Problem. Produced and realized by Kills' boyfriend, New Zealand-born musician Willie Moon, this remix has been unveiled online on February 11, 2014. 8 days later, a music video for the title track Trouble, directed by filmmaker Emile Raphael, made its premiere on her VEVO channel. In the continuity of the two previous singles' music videos, this one shows the singer's past disappointments, including her tumultuous love life centered on illicit drugs and violence. However, this was an off-promotion project and not a real single, knowing that no digital or physical release was published as such, except from a Cherry Cherry Boom Boom remix featuring Canadian musician Peaches, 2014 A Euro Present, Marriage and upcoming third studio album. On February 27, 2014, Cherrytree hinted through a message posted on Twitter that Kills was in a studio with French disc jockey David Guetta and Dutch producer Giorgio Twinfort, in Stockholm, Sweden. The trio was later joined by Dutch DJ Afrojack, then by Martin Kiesenbaum, and finally by Swedish DJ Avicii. On April 10, 2014, American singer-songwriter Madonna shared a picture showing her along with Kills and Kiesenbaum in a recording studio, with the following caption, "Working the midnight shift with Natalia Kills. Two girls on a couch. Don't it taste like holy water?" In late May 2014, Kiesenbaum said during a radio interview for SiriusXM that he appreciated the time shared a month earlier with the singers, arguing that he didn't know if the work done will be retained by Madonna, although she had requested to pursue their collaboration. The producer concluded by saying that they had a good feeling together. On May 13, 2014, Kills held a meeting with English DJ Samantha Ronson and Uruguayan musician, as well as Cobra Starship's member, Gabby Supporter, for a future collaboration. On the same day, fashion editor Alex Catarinella officially declared to Black Book magazine that Kills would be engaged to Willie Moon on May 23, in New York City. During an interview she gave to New Zealand-edited fashion magazine Black on the same month, Kills developed more about her recent projects and her current situation, stating, "We just moved in together in New York. Eat a Euro unregistered trademark S divine. I would tell you how much fun we Euro unregistered trademark they been having, but then our Euro unregistered trademark D figure out how little work we Euro unregistered trademark re getting done." When asked about what will determine the future of her career and whether she's working on a new album, she said, "We have been recording a few songs. A Euro eat a Euro unregistered trademark S much more aggressive and sarcastic about true love and what hurt means. I want to make a record about all the awful things we do when we Euro unregistered trademark reboard." Finally, as a response to the question, "What are you reading?" she replied, "The lyrics I wrote with Madonna for her new album." On May 31, 2014, she was invited to charity event Life Ball, which took place in Vienna, Austria, mostly for a live performance kicking off the event, and a concert. On June 29, she made an appearance at the Minneapolis Gay Pride Festival, where she appeared on stage dressed as a bride. In late July 2014, she teamed up with Adidas in order to promote their new line of sneakers, Energy Boost. To do so, a television advertising, including her song Problem, was created. On August 11, she announced that she was back in the studio with Moon and American producer Ian Kirkpatrick. In September 2014, she attested on social networks that her third studio album would be available soon. In mid-October 2014, while interviewed for Paper magazine, she said, "I'm really excited for my new music. It's funny, but co-writing songs for world-renowned pop stars has allowed me to be more obscure and inappropriate with my own sound, while confirming the release of a new single by the end of 2014, with the third album's release for early 2015. On October 30, it was announced that Kills would appear as a judge and mentor in the second New Zealand series of The X Factor in 2015, alongside her husband, Willie Moon. Style and influences. Natalia Kills already mentioned Kate Bush and Alanis Morissette as her most important musical influences, describing them as emotional artists, who write honestly about their opinions and experiences. The singer also stated she considered Gwen Stefani, who is a musical and stylistic inspiration, as her hero, adding that Prince, Vanity 6, and Freddie Mercury have already inspired her during live performances. Kills explores music that is both confessional and bold when looking for inspiration. She reveals, "Oh, I don't listen to music to let go, I listen to dive in," listing Hole, Marilyn Manson, and Eminem among her favorite artists and bands with whom she grew up. According to the iTunes Store, the performer gradually composed a musical tone incorporating Lady Gaga's theatrical dance pop, the visual universe of the 40s films noirs, and Depeche Mode's gloomy electro. She also reported that she has always been a pop music fan, especially in evoking contemporary New Age artists as Lana Del Rey, Adele, Marina Diamandis or even Ivy Levin and Lorde. Kills claims to be influenced by her own experiences. She's also inspired by cinema when composing songs. In this regard, she said during an interview for MKR magazine, "I'm a huge fan of Stanley Cooper, Tarantino, Gaspar No Copyright, and Stanley Kubrick. I love anything that a unregistered trademark is beautiful and disturbing and horrifying and gorgeous at the same time. I do get inspired, definitely. I don't listen to a lot of music except my own, but I definitely like music a lot." A musical transition between Kills' debut and second records is undeniable. Perfectionist mixes elements of synthpop on fractious, reserved, and almost superficial tones, while Trouble adopt a more open and soft shade with bubblegum pop and electro-rock music fragments, but also with new melodic experiments as new wave or industrial music. Aesthetically, she explained in an interview during a Christian Lacroix exhibition in Paris on March 2011 that she didn't follow fashion, but the dress style is a visual expression of who we are, our identity, and how we feel at the present moment. She added that she has always liked to wear black or leather clothes and that it's an expression of who I am, and that it's more important to have a style for this reason rather than follow a fashion that is not necessarily us, and that changes every 3 months. Kills concluded by stating that she favors aggressive and feminine clothes, and that she likes to define her style as feminine brutality, thinking that leather brings a hard and soft style at the same time. Discography. Perfectionist, Trouble, Filmography, Tours, Notes. At this 58 dates promotional tour started on June 24, 2011 in Paris, France and ended on November 22, 2011 in Vancouver, Canada. B. This promotional tour took place in Russia. C. This promotional tour took place in the United States. D. This tour was performed with other artists from the same record label. Awards and nominations, references. External links, official website, Natalia Kills at AllMusic, Natalia Kills at the Internet Movie Database.